Hello and welcome to My Daily Trivia. I'm your host, Danny, and today is Thursday, July 27th. I hope you're having a wonderful day. If this is your first time listening, I want to say welcome. My Daily Trivia is a 10-round quiz show with no specific themes, topics, or categories. We have a new episode every day, Monday through Friday, which with each day getting progressively harder. So, with today being Thursday, that means today will be relatively challenging. But as always, if you find it a little hard, a little too hard, I encourage you to listen anyway, and of course, listen tomorrow as well. You never know when you might learn something. But if you find today to be relatively simple, then check in tomorrow. Friday's going to be the hardest day of the week. And as always, we will be joining you again on Monday with the easiest day of our week. So without further delay, let's get into today's round of questions with question number one. What is the highest mountain in Africa? The highest mountain in Africa is Mount Kilimanjaro. Located in Tanzania, Mount Kilimanjaro is the African continent's highest peak at 5,895 meters. That's 19,340 feet. It is, in fact, a dormant volcano and has three volcanic cones named Kibu, Mawazani, and Shira, although the volcanic interior of Kilimanjaro is actually poorly known because there's been no significant erosion to expose the ingenious strata that comprise the volcano's structure. Eruptive activity at the Shira Center on Mount Kilimanjaro commenced about 2.5 million years ago, with the last important phase occurring about 1.9 million years ago. Mount Kilimanjaro is also the highest single freestanding mountain above sea level in the entire world. So, highest mountain in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro. Moving on to question two. Which artist painted The Starry Night? That famous painter was Vincent van Gogh. Created in 1889 and widely hailed as Van Gogh's magnum opus, the painting depicts the view outside his sanatorium room window at night, although it was actually painted from memory during the day. In fact, Van Gogh painted a view from his east-facing window in the asylum a total of 21 times. The series depicts various times of day and night and different weather conditions. All of the works include the same line of rolling hills in the distance, and none of them show the bars on the window of his room. The painting is currently hung in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City, where it has been a permanent piece of the collection since 1941. Moving on to question three. What is the fundamental unit of life that can carry out all the basic functions of living organisms and is often referred to as the building blocks of life? The building blocks of life are cells. Cells are called the building blocks of life because they are the basic structural and functional units of our lives. In the different levels of organization in an organism, the cell acts as the basic unit. Even in the case of humans, the development of embryo starts with the formation of a single cell zygote. They then multiply, so every part of the body is made of tiny building blocks called cells, which fit together like bricks in a wall. The average adult human body has around 37.2 trillion cells. So many, in fact, that if we took the DNA from all of those cells and laid it out in a linear fashion end to end, it could wrap around the Earth 2.5 million times. It could also reach the sun and back 300 times. So that is quite impressive. The building blocks of life are the cells. Moving on to question four. What is the longest river in South America? That river is the Amazon. The Amazon is the longest river in South America, stretching somewhere around 4,345 miles, or roughly 6,900 kilometers. The Amazon is, in fact, one of the longest rivers in the world. Now, if you have been listening to this podcast for a while, you might know by now that I love giving you folks fun facts. So, for the Amazon River, I just want to hit you with a couple quick fun facts right now, rapid fire. The Amazon runs through 7 countries, including Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Guyana, Peru, and Venezuela. It is estimated to be the home of roughly 5,000 different species of fish, with more being discovered each year. That's right, 5,000 different species in one river. The river also has river dolphins, manatees, anacondas, and giant otters. So, all of those creatures call the Amazon, aka the longest river in South America, home. Next question, question 5. In the movie The Shawshank Redemption, what is the name of the main character who is wrongly convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison? And that main character was Andy Dufresne. In 1947, Andy Dufresne, a banker in Maine, is convicted of murdering his wife and her lover, a golf pro. Since the state of Maine has no death penalty, he is given 2 consecutive life sentences and sent to the notoriously harsh Shawshank prison. This movie is based on the Stephen King novella Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption. And the film was surprisingly, and I didn't know this, it was actually a box office disappointment. It only earned $16 million during its initial theatrical run. Many reasons have been cited for its failure at the time, including competition from films such as Pulp Fiction and Forrest Gump, the general unpopularity of prison films, its lack of female characters, and frankly, even the title, which was considered to be too confusing for audiences. However, today it is recognized as one of the most beloved films ever made, and it is a personal favorite of mine, The Shawshank Redemption with Andy Dufresne. Moving on to question 6. What is the scientific term for the study of fungi? The study of fungi is called mycology. Mycology is the branch of biology concerned with the study of fungi, including their genetic and biochemical properties, their taxonomy, and their use to humans, including as a source of tinder, traditional medicine, food, and entheogens, as well as their dangers, of course, such as toxicity or infection. It is believed that humans started collecting mushrooms as food in prehistoric times, and for centuries, certain mushrooms have been documented as folk medicine in places like China, Japan, and Russia. In the modern era, penicillin, cyclosporin, cephalosporin, and psilocybin are all examples of drugs that have been isolated from molds or other fungi. So, mycology, the study of fungi. Moving on to question 7. Who is the all-time leading goal scorer in the history of men's international soccer? And that leading goal scorer is Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo holds the world record for international goals, scoring 123 goals in 200 games for Portugal since first making his debut in 2003. He also holds the record for the most hat tricks in international football with a total of 10, as well as the highest ever goals scored in his career with 800 total. A fun fact about Ronaldo is that in 2009, Real Madrid announced that the team had insured his legs for about $100 million. Now, this is actually not the most expensive body part insured on a soccer player, as Lionel Messi's left foot, just his left foot, is actually insured for 750 million euros. So, leading goal scorer of all time, international, is Cristiano Ronaldo. Highest insured foot is Lionel Messi. Moving on to question 8. What is the name of the galaxy that is home to our solar system? And that would be the Milky Way. The Milky Way is the galaxy that includes our solar system, with the name describing the galaxy's appearance from Earth, a hazy band of light seen in the night sky formed by stars that cannot be individually distinguished by the naked eye. The term Milky Way is a translation from Latin Via Lactea, meaning Milky Circle. From Earth, the Milky Way appears as a band because its disc-shaped structure is viewed from within. Galileo Galilei first resolved the band of light into individual stars with his telescope in 1610. And there's actually an estimated total of 200 billion stars in the Milky Way alone. So we can call the Milky Way our home. Moving on to question 9. Who painted the famous artwork The Birth of Venus during the Renaissance period? And that famous artist is Sandro Botticelli. Sandro Botticelli created the work in the mid-1480s, and it is regarded as among the most famous paintings in the world. In the center, the newly born goddess Venus stands nude in a giant scallop shell. At her left, the winged god Zephyrus blows at her, with the wind shown by lines radiating from his mouth. At the right, a female figure holds out a rich cloak or dress to cover Venus when she reaches the shore. Measuring in at roughly 6 feet by 9 feet, it's been called the first large-scale canvas created in Renaissance Florence. And finally, our last question of the day, question 10. Manioc, also known as cassava, is a starchy root vegetable native to which continent? And that continent is South America. Manioc, aka cassava or yucca, is a woody shrub native to South America, primarily found in Brazil and parts of the Andes. Although a perennial plant, cassava is extensively cultivated as an annual crop in tropical and subtropical regions for its edible, starchy root tuber, a major source of carbohydrates. Cassava is a major staple food in the developing world, providing a basic diet for over 500 million people. It is one of the most drought-tolerant crops, capable of growing on marginal soils. Although it originated in South America, Nigeria is currently the world's largest producer of cassava, while Thailand is actually the largest exporter of cassava starch. So with that, that will conclude this round of My Daily Trivia. If you found this round to be relatively easy, then I encourage you to check in tomorrow. Friday is going to be the hardest day of the week. And of course, if you found it a little bit of a challenge, I encourage you to listen tomorrow anyway. You might just learn something, and you can always check in again on Monday. As always, I encourage you to share this show with any friends or family that might be interested. I want to thank you again for listening to My Daily Trivia. I'm your host, Danny, and I will see you tomorrow.